This is a sound check. Check 1, 2, 3. Check, check, check. Sound check 1, 2, 3. Sound check. Sound check 1, 2, 3. Sound check. Hello, welcome and namaste. This is Moksha Mukti Apollo going live to speak to you about any questions, comment, and concern that you have about life, your direct experience. And we have Adrian Vasil. Hello, Adrian. Namaste. Thanks for joining. Says hello. Moksha Mukti is taking questions, comment, questions about life that you have. Any questions, comments, type your questions, comments, concern, and Moksha Mukti will speak regarding that. Any questions, comment, concerns? Type your questions, comment, concerns, and Moksha Mukti will speak regarding that and point you to the source. The source is already within you. Now, and it requires giving attention for you to recognize it. It requires your attention for it to recognize it, to experience it, to see it now in this present moment. And it requires just attention. Attention to the stillness and silence, or the observation, or what is there within you. It requires attention for you to recognize it, for you to experience it. If you don't give attention to that, your attention will be consumed by your thinking, because thinking is clever, thinking is powerful, thinking is powerful illusion. And thought says positive, negative. This thought is good, this thought is bad. This thought is useful to me, this thought is not useful to me. Thought says that and makes you believe in it, because that is your thought. Because it is your thought, it makes you believe what it's thinking is right. Since you thought about it, since the thinking is in your head, that is so personal to you, it makes you think it is right. So what I think is positive, what I think is right, that is the nature of the thought. Thought says that. But what Moksha Mukti is pointing to you is give your attention to the source that you already have within you, now in this present moment. And if you have any questions, comment, concern about life, type your questions, comment, concern, and he'll speak regarding that. Those of you just joined, Namaste, this is Moksha Mukti Apollo. Today he will be speaking regarding your questions, comment, concerns that you have regarding life. Any direct experience of life, about life. Your happiness, your sadness, your anxiety, your anger, your frustration, your fearfulness. Anything and everything. You can ask Moksha Mukti Apollo questions and he'll speak regarding that. And he is going to point you to the source. Where is everything stemming from? Where is your happiness stemming from? Where is your sadness stemming from? Where is your anger stemming from? Where is your frustration stemming from? Where is your happiness? Where is your fear? Where is everything stemming from? Why are you afraid? Why are you happy? Why are you sad? Why are you anxious? Moksha Mukti is pointing you to look within the source and see the source. Once you see the source, once you recognize the source, once you experience the source, all of them fearful, all of them anxiety, all of them will disappear, falls up. However, physiological suffering, physiological pain, physiological anxiety, physiological fear, all of them will remain. What will not remain is your psychological suffering, psychological sadness, psychological pain, psychological anxiety, psychological fear, psychological anger, so on and so forth will fall off. Now, if anything is bothering you, 10% of that is physiological level. And that you cannot deny that. No one can deny that. However, 90% of your fear, anger, frustration, hatred, jealousy, etc., etc., stems from psychological source, and that is what Moksha Mukti is called. That is the illusion, because that is produced by your own thought. Physiological level, it is there, you cannot deny it, and psychological level, thought level, it exaggerates and makes it look like it is powerful, makes it look like it is real, and you can suffer in this psychological experience. So Moksha Mukti is pointing you to see the source, whatever source you have within you. That source will tell you where is that stemming from. Everything is stemming from one source, and in this recognition, all of those psychological illusions will fall off. Hey John, you made it. I sent you a message. Glad you saw it and joined it. Thanks for joining. See, mind is thinking on its own. It is thinking on its own. And when you give attention to the source, they fall off. The physiological pain is there. Physiological pain, suffering, anxiety, sadness is going to be there. And from physiological level, like a mushroom, see, stems, and when it goes to the brain level, it grows like a big mushroom. And when you come to the source and see the recognition, see the source, recognize the source, those mushrooms will fall off and only remain the percentage of that. Any questions, comment, concern? Type your questions, so Moksha Mukti will speak regarding that. Any questions, comment, concerns? Type your questions, comment, concerns, and Moksha Mukti will speak regarding that. About life, about happiness, sadness, fear, anxiety, depression, joy, epiphany, extraordinary experiences, awakening, dreaming. What do you think this is all? This all is dreaming. Universe is dreaming. And that dream is appearing in your consciousness. John writes, I just joined, so I missed the introduction. Same as usual, John. Pointing you to the source. There is the psychological illusion that you have in your mind, because that is the nature of the thought, to produce psychological illusions, like a mushroom. From the source, from the ground, it goes, and when it goes to the thought level, it mushrooms, becomes big. So the small fear that you have within your physiological level, when it goes to thought level, it becomes like a mushroom, big, and that is causing you more harm than what is actually is there. Because physiological level, you cannot deny your anxiety, you cannot deny your suffering, you cannot deny your sadness, you cannot deny your fear, you cannot deny your loneliness, you cannot deny anything in the physiological level. It is there like a heartbeat. But when that goes into the mind, it becomes like a mushroom from the source. It's a small line and it becomes big. So, like as usual, Moksha Mukti is pointing you to see the source within you now. So when you see the source, when you recognize the source that you already have within you, and that recognition itself will fall off that big mushroom in your head. You see, that is causing the problem. That is causing humans the problem. And he's simply pointing you to the source. He's simply pointing you to give attention to the source. Source is there within you now, and thought is thinking on his own. Thinking is going on his own. And thinking says, this is positive, this is negative. This is right, this is wrong. This is true, this is untrue. This is good, this is bad. Those are all stemming from the thought. And in the thought level, you cannot have positive without the negative. So positive has to be, negative has to be there to experience the positive, and positive has to be there to experience the negative. So both has to be present in the thought level. Both is there simultaneously. And one becomes stronger because you're thinking this way, and the other becomes stronger thinking that way. And 90% of the time, those thinking are mushroom. It's a projection of your physiological experience that you have in your body. See, there's a projection going on. We have Brenda. Hello Brenda, namaste, thanks for joining. And Brenda writes, fear is always present in my life. Why? Very good question, Brenda. Fear is an energy that is part of your body. It is there to protect you from the danger. That is part of your body in a physiological level. But what Moksha Mukti is pointing out, when the fear occurs in the body, that is natural. It is naturally connected. That's a natural part of the body. It's an energy in your body, just like the heartbeat. Fear is natural. It arises in the body to protect you from the danger. That's the truth. And the second thing that is happening in your functionality, in humans' functionality, is that when the fear occurs in the body, it goes to the mind. And the mind, first of all, it tries to get rid of the fear from the body. And second thing the mind does is exaggerates, like a mushroom. I give you an analogy. When the mushroom appears, it's a small thing, but when it goes to the head, it becomes big. So it gives you the mushroom effect. And that small fear that you have in the body becomes 10 times, 100 times bigger. Because now it's in your head. And head is doing two things. One is it is analyzing it. And it is trying to get rid of that fear from the body. Why do I have fear in there? That is natural. That is natural part of the body. It's a part natural of human mechanism. The fear is a mechanism. It is in the body. And the thought comes in and thought tries to get rid of that. So what Moksha Mukti is pointing you to see the source within you, recognize the source, experience the source, see the source, and you'll see where the thought your fear is stemming from. And you'll see the two places. One is in your physiological level, one is your mind level, thought level. And thought level is the one that is giving you the problem. Thought level 1 is causing you to be fearful. And he's pointing you to recognizing. Give your attention to the source. Without giving attention to the source, you will not be able to recognize it. You will not be able to see all this truth Moksha Mukti is giving you. So it requires you to give your attention to the source within you now. And John writes, sometimes when I dream, it's about things that has happened in the past, and sometimes they are nightmares. How do I stop this? All the dream and nightmare is part of who you are. And the one that says the nightmare is your own thought. One thought says that's a nightmare, that's a dream. And when you have that dream and when you awake, you say, oh, what happened? And that is going to your head, and thinking is thinking in a fast speed and saying, well, now I dreamt about this, it must be real, or it may happen to you in life again. So that is the one is causing you to be afraid, or causing you to identify that as a nightmare. So it's a thought is doing that. You see something in a dream, then you wake up and your thought is leveling, hey, wait a minute, that's a nightmare. That's making me scared because that may happen in the real life. Or that is a scary nightmare. Even when you awake, give your attention to the source. And I'm making sure that my voice is not messed up. So if I have issues with my voice, you'll let me know, right? Because like this is a new technology. When I'm speaking, my voice becomes like I'm talking. A monster is talking. It has happened a few times in the past. So yeah. It is the thought that is interpreting. And when that happens, don't give attention to the thought, give attention to the source. And the only way you can stop this is from your thought level. That when that happens, give your attention to the source, and the thought, this will dissolve from your thought level. This will not let you continue, because thought likes to continue. It likes to do it likes to continue, and it likes to assume. And Brenda Lowe writes, got it. Thank you. You're welcome, Brenda. Thanks for joining. Thanks for asking questions. And I'm looking at my phone here. I'm not connecting, so I don't know whether this is going live. It says live over there. But when I check it back here, this is got one of those wheel going on, and I don't know my sound is coming up right or not, but when you're functioning in the thought level, the nightmare will haunt you. Nightmare will eat you up. Because what is happening again, it is like a mushroom effect. Just remember mushroom effect. In the source, there is something there, but when it goes to the head, it becomes like a mushroom. It becomes big, exaggerates. And it creates a lot of things within the thought. And thought is doing that. It is the thought that doing that. When you say nightmare, it's your thought is doing that. And Ellen Crable joins. Hello, Ellen. Thanks for joining. Namaste. And she writes hello. Can you hear me? Is my voice clear? It's not like mumble, like whoa, like that, because it has happened in the past, and I'm trying to listen here on my phone, the same broadcast, but it's just giving me wheel, like I don't know if you can see that. See that? So I'm trying to listen to my own broadcast, and it's giving me like that. So I don't know. You can hear me or not. Ellen Crable writes, Namaste friend, you're clever. Clear. Thanks for letting me know. Ellen, thanks for joining. Any other questions, comment, concerns? Is that clear to you, John? John, are you there? Were you able to see what Moksha Mukti is pointing in your own functionality? And that nightmare can be like scary dreams, like a ghost or a thief or a lion or a tiger or a robber or somebody with a gun chasing you at nighttime, and that could have some after effect. You're fearful while you're dreaming, your heart is actually beating. When you have those nightmares, like a lion chasing you, or a robber chasing you, or some other situation that is happening, it feels real because that is the dream, and your heart is actually beating, and you are actually fearful. And when you awake for a few seconds, you may have that effect, but if you stay long, recognize, hey, wait a minute, that will just happen in my dream. It's not real. Similarly, this situation that is now we are present, this is what Moksha Mukti is pointing, still a dream, a different kind of dream, a concrete dream than that we dream at night time. And even if you awake from this dream, you'll say, wait a minute, that was a dream, I was dreaming, now I am awake. And Ellen Crable writes, is it always best to start balancing chakra from the root up? Moksha Mukti is not giving you lecture. Moksha Mukti is not telling you anything. Moksha Mukti is not giving you any information. He is simply pointing you to the source. And the source is already within you, Ellen. And all it requires is giving attention to that. Giving attention to the source. It's not really chakra. Moksha Mukti does not believe in a chakra. However, he doesn't say don't do chakra. If you want to do chakra, do it. He doesn't recommend it. He doesn't do it. He simply points you to give you attention to the source that is within you, that is observing everything. The source is observing everything. Give attention to that. And the source is subtle. Source seems powerless. Source seems small. Source seems nothing. Yet everything is stemming from there. So he is pointing you to give attention to that. And that source is observing the thought. All the thought is appearing and disappearing in that source. And so-called chakra, balance chakra, it happens on its own. If there is a chakra, it is balancing now for Moksha Mukti, because he is giving attention to that source. And Ellen Crable writes, that makes sense. Giving attention to the source will help in all ways. Yeah. It is not easy to recognize the source for the thought. If you try to recognize from the thought will never recognize it. Thought will gonna assume it. It will assume that's the source. It's not the source. It's not from the thought. But attention is there, giving that to the source, and source will see the thought appearing and disappearing, appearing and disappearing. And the source is not going to help you the way you think it's going to help you. Okay? Because when you say always help me in a source going to help you, it's not like that it's going to help you like the thought assumes. It's not the same kind of help that you're thinking about. It simply guides you in all situations of your life. And even if you give your attention to the source, not every moment is going to be pleasant. Not every moment is going to be happy. Not every moment is going to be epiphanic. Not every moment is you're going to have a great experiences, tremendous experiences. Because those come and go like the cloud in the sky. So your happiness will occur, sadness will occur, but when your attention to the source, when there is a recognition to the source, the sadness, anxiety, depression, anger, jealousy will not affect you. You will be unaffected by all those experiences appearing in your consciousness. You see. Now 10% is going to be physiological level, that is going to be there, that you cannot get rid of it. The 90%, the mushroom effect that Moksha Mukti pointed out, 90% of the illusion, psychological illusion that is causing you the problem will vanish. But 10%, the physiological level, is there going to be pain? Yes, there is going to be pain. Is there going to be suffering? Yes, there is going to be suffering. Is there going to be fear? Yes, there is going to be fear. In a physiological level, that will always remain. And that is mechanism of human body. You see, everyone has to go through that physiological level in this human form, no matter who comes here. You see. But in psychological level, 90% of that is happening, what Moksha Mukti pointed, mushroom effect, that can be vanished when you give attention to the source. And Moksha Mukti says possibilities. And last time, someone came up and say, well, you have to give specific examples. I don't accept possibilities. And Moksha Mukti says possibilities, because what Moksha Mukti is giving this talk right now, if I see two of you, if there is two of you, one person gives attention and it requires effort, give attention to the source and that person benefit. And the other person tries to give attention to the source, but their attention goes to the thought and that person is not going to benefit. See, that's why Moksha Mukti says there's a possibility. And Ellen Crable writes, yes, that makes sense. Thank you so much. You're all welcome, Ellen. So what he's pointing out, there is a two phenomena that is occurring in your experience right now. One is your attention, that you're really making effort to give attention to the source now in this present moment. And second thing, what is happening is you're giving attention to the thought level. And Moksha Mukti is not pointing you that. When you give attention to the thought level, thought will never recognize the source. It will assume it recognizing source, but it is not happening in your consciousness. And you will not be able to experience the source, you'll not be able to see the source, you'll not be able to recognize the source, and all your fear, anger, anxiety, depression, sadness will stay like a mushroom effect that Moksha Mukti pointed out. Then that is going to cause you problem. Any other questions, comment, concerns? And let's see. Is my sound coming out okay? So far so good. Sound is good. How about does anybody experience this chakra or wheel that is going on? When I try to watch it, it gives that so I'm not able to watch it, so I don't know if you're able to watch it or not. John Rice, be back in 2 minutes. And John Rice, yes. And this forum right here, this conversation taking place, is not the thought level. In a thought level, you can talk about it all the time. You can talk about it all day, and you can say this, that, other. You can label this, you can label that. It's just, you say, that's all stemming from the thought level. And thought level, we can talk about many, many, many things. You see. And we're going to go around in circle and circle. Because one moment thought comes up and say, hey, this is right. And after a few months, the same thought doesn't come and say, well, maybe not so. What we said is not right. But the source level, source is always right. Source is always constant. Source is always permanent. Everything, all experiences that you experience are dynamic. It changes. It comes and goes like a cloud in the sky. But the source is always remain the same. Source is always constant. And everything appears and disappears, appears and disappears from the thought level that experiences. Come and go. Come and go. And even when you try to give attention, will there be thought arising? Yes, thought will arise and demand your attention. Thought arises and demands your attention. It demands your attention. And you can take back that power from your thought and give attention to the source, and source recognize, hey, it's just the thought. It's okay. Whatever thinking, for a few minutes, it can wait. Unless there is something really important you gotta do and take care of it. You see. But in the relaxation, while you're relaxing, the thought appears, and thought can make you anxious. Thought can make you angry. Thought can make you unhappy. Thought can make you sad. You see? Any other questions, comment, concerns? Your comment, question, concerns, whatever you write in the comment section, that is pushing Moksha Mukti's button for him to speak. Otherwise, you can just stay here, not say a word. And you can ask questions about any topics of life. There is no limitation of the topics. But Moksha Mukti recommends you ask questions direct from your experience. And in the past, people have asked questions about, like, whether Earth is round, whether how old is Earth, I mean, you're welcome to ask questions like that, but he recommends you asking from your direct experience. And majority of humans on the planet, they're afraid. That mushroom effect Moksha Mukti pointed out. The afraid is there in the body, in a stem. That you cannot avoid that, but you can avoid the mushroom, big mushroom, that is caused by your thought, psychological. That you can avoid. But you cannot avoid that stemming from the physiological level. You cannot avoid that. And if someone comes here or anywhere and says that you do not need to suffer physiological level, the 10% that Moksha Mukti is saying, that person is lying to you. Because he's speaking from the thought level. In the thought level, thought thinks that, yeah, you don't need to suffer. Not even physiological level. The thought says that. Yet thought is suffering, and he's the one is making you suffering. And he comes here and says, you don't need to suffer. Seek something. He'll ask you to seek something, search something in a thought level. Going round and round, round and round, creating all sorts of solutions of life. One solution appears, it's useful for sometimes, people accept it, and after a while that solution doesn't exist because that's only stemming from the mind and disappears. You see? And John writes, Moksha, where is your source? John, that source is neither here nor there. It is everywhere. You can connect to that source within you now in this present moment. That source is not my source or your source. It is the source. It's not, the source cannot be captured by this physiological body or the mind. You cannot capture that. You see? You cannot capture that. I cannot claim that is my source. It is there, yet it is there. When you say your source, that means you are separating yourself from the source. And then that is coming from thought level. The source is mine and yours. Within there, we're not separate. The separateness is perceived by the mind. My, your, I, me, all those separateness is perceived by the mind. And Moksha Mukti is not lecturing you. Moksha Mukti is not giving you speech. Moksha Mukti is not telling you anything. It's simply pointing you to the source that you already have within you, that you are connected to the source now. You see, and it requires your attention. It requires your constant attention. And from there, everything is revealing. Everything is revealing from there. All the talks that Moksha Mukti is talking right now is stemming from the source. Because what he is doing is making effort to give attention to the source. He requires effort to give attention to that. And thought will appear again in his head and it demands attention. Then he's taking the power from the thought and giving attention to the source again. And somebody called me, I got a text her back. See. Okay, so I had to text back. So that's what's happening. You see, thought comes and demands your attention. That is a delay, that is the nature of the thought. That is the nature of the thought. The message didn't send, so I have to send the message again. Message failed. So see, that demands your thought, demands your attention. And John writes, yes, we are all one. My source when seeking peace is God Allah. Again, you're giving attention to the thought is saying that. Thought is saying that seeking peace is God and God is you, labeling that is coming from the thought. When you recognize it's a source, the source does not even say anything. Other people can label it, thought can label it God and this, but the source doesn't label that. When seeking peace, if you're seeking peace, that means you're going to thought level. Because see, the thought is exhausting you and you want to get away from the thought. And your energy in your body exhausting you and demanding to be free from the thought, because thought is consuming your energy. Even one thought you think, it is consuming your energy. And it's you consuming energy, it goes on and on, goes on, and you are trying to be free from that, is what you're seeking for peace. You want to free from that thought. And if you give attention to the thought, another thought, that thought is consuming your energy. Now you miss your opportunity to give attention to the source. It's a good exercise. See, what we're doing is we're pointing to the source, not to the thought. And thought demands your attention. Thought consumes your energy. Thought demands your attention, it consumes your energy. It keeps on consumes your energy, and now you're trying to be free from the thought. Trying to be free from the thought is causing you the problem. You're not trying to be free from the thought, you're trying to give attention to the source, not give attention to the thought. Just observe the thought. Because thought is coming and going on its own. And thought will come in, just like some important deadline you have to meet. Maybe you have to go pick up your daughter or son in a school, or you have to make a payment, or you have to go see a doctor, or you have to have a date, you have to go on that time, or you have to do something in certain time or certain date. You see, and it keeps popping up your mind. And if you need to do that, take care of that now. You see.